referees are trained and taught to say, always officiate as if VAR doesn't exist, right? Like you should be officiating without the concept of VAR necessarily, which is half true and half not, right? Because from an assistant referee, your mechanics are different because of the system. So you do have to referee with it in your brain. But at the end of the day, when we're talking about the decisions that are being made on the field between the teams, it should be made in kind of that thing now. So that shouldn't be affecting their decisions on the field necessarily.
Welcome back to Morning Footy. Now, there's only one match we can talk about it. No, it's not the Spanish Super Cup. It's actually the FA Cup because there were some dubious refereeing decisions and controversial calls made. And we have CBS Sports rules analyst, the one and only Christina Unkel, here to break it down with us. Christina, first of all, how you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing well. And I did hang on to that word dubious that you just used. So I'd love to explore that. Let's unpack that word.
You and I are on the same page.
All right, well, let's start with the first call. And it was a 19th minute call where Gabriel Martinelli was deemed offside. And to the naked eye, I thought it was the right call. But there's some people who are going back and saying it was closer than meets me eye. What say you about the decision made?
Yeah, so no, this is the correct decision. And naturally, we are talking about with the ability and the technology to be able to really kind of dive that down. Now, the biggest conversation everyone is having is this conversation from the defender, Maguire. Was it a deflection or was it deliberate contact before it got to him, right? The difference and the significance of this is if it's considered a deliberate play on the ball, offside no longer exists, and that it would have been a good goal. However, here, the question is it deflection? And the answer is yes, based on the recent changes of law in the past 3 or 4 years, that when a defender is basically lunging or reaching out in an attempt to intercept the ball without the ability for time to prepare and be steady, we consider that a deflection and no longer deliberate. 4 or 5 years ago, that was a deliberate play. He would have been onside. Good goal. That's where the debate is. And here it is the correct decision and not dubious for a deflection.
Yeah, spot on. Well, let's go to the 61st minute where Diogo Dalot gets his second yellow. Was it justified? Because I sure as hell think it was.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you guys. There's a lot of chatter on it saying this is never a second yellow. At the end of the day, if you take this clip in isolation, right, what we're looking here is speed. We're looking for force, and we're looking for the essentially of that lunge coming in. You see his right boot off of the ground and push. Does he make contact? No, but that's because the other player jumps to avoid that contact. Just because there's not contact doesn't mean it's not a reckless challenge, which meets the standard, right? Careless, reckless, excessive force. This falls into reckless. This is a clip, even isolated, is a reckless foul. It's 100% misconduct. We want a yellow card. Preferred decision is yellow card. It's the player's decision to have made that. So it's out of the referee's hands in the sense of, is this a second yellow card? What we do or do not want to give. This is a yellow card in and of itself because of that.
Okay, I agree with both of you. The first two we'll get. But the reason why I used the word dubious was because there was an incident that happened a few minutes later, Charlie, in the 69th minute, when Kai Havertz pretty much won the award for the Golden Globes and won the award for the Oscar, maybe a nominee coming up for the best dive in an FA Cup match with Harry Maguire. So, Christina, now that we've found out what the dubious call is, I mean, is this a penalty? Does the ball truly not lie?
Oh, I'm going to lean with Charlotte on this one. Ball don't lie, right? But no, this is what we consider, right? This is within the referee's decision and discretion. You have the arm, you have it extended, you have it left. Like, does he have a full grab of his shirt? The answer is no. The other point of contact that's being looked at, if we're isolating this clip, right, looking at it without VAR, is the contact in his left upper thigh enough to impact his play and his ability to move forward? Or does he feel a little bit of that contact and definitely like put mustard on it, is what I call it, or eat it? I don't like this decision on the field. Referee gives a decision on the field. Is it 100% incorrect? The answer is no, right? And no VAR here, but if there was a line of intervention, this would be a check complete. Errors can still happen, but from a referee's perspective, the center referee specifically, right, an assistant referee cannot support in this decision just based on the angles. The center referee is probably thinking there's a good hand shirt, you got some upper thigh contact, it happens in a split of a second. I don't like the decision, but ultimately when it comes to on the field and what it is, the referee's decision has to lie. Although when he looks at it, and the best angle here is behind the goal line, which is a place that the referee will never have, which is why we like VAR involved, because sometimes you just have these decisions that are just little dubious.
I've been in that position, and it's embellishment. And I've won a penalty in that way, and I could see it from a mile away, and the ball don't lie. So ultimately, it didn't go in the back of the net. No. So everything was all well in the world. I want to go to the Supercopa España, where Real Madrid were criticizing the referee for 7 minutes in a video posted online after the game. What for you? What does that mean? What does that signify?
Yeah, and it's just, for me, right, that 7 minutes prior to the game, people have heard me say this, especially I know we cover Serie A, right, when we, when Roma, oh my gosh, sorry, I'm blanking on his name, the master of the dark arts. If I say that, you guys know exactly who I'm talking about, but I don't like this because it's manipulation. It's using the media as a weapon against the referee community to protect yourself. So it's the person who says, if I lose, it's because somebody cheated prior to the game even happening, right? So you're creating this narrative that you want to create that in the event that you lose, it's no longer on the manager. It's no longer on, the president. It's no longer the general manager. It's no longer on the players. And for me, I think it's a very weak position to come out. And I would sit on the soapbox and say that because you're essentially admitting defeat prior to, because you think the referees are out to get you. Like, alleging that someone is unethical, alleging that someone is going to throw the game, it doesn't protect the club. It doesn't protect that team specifically. It does incredible harm to the game. Because if people are thinking that these games are already thrown or already decided prior to, people aren't going to come watch. People aren't going to spend their money. They're going to already think it's corrupt. So you're doing more harm than good. Even if the people are doing self-preservation, you're damaging the game, and most importantly, you're reminding people why they don't want to sign up to be referees at the youth level and then get to the top. Because I've seen plenty of videos already of Gil, the referee stepping off the field. Everyone says he's sad. Everyone says he's angry. Everyone says, if he was smiling, everyone would be upset that he was smiling. So doing this kind of narrative in the media, it destroys the integrity and the fundamental of officiating, but it's destroying the game.
Yeah, the referee in question is Jesus Gil Manzano. And the context of it, I think, was you go back to last season, he was involved in that 2-2 draw, ultimately, the Jude Bellingham goal that was chalked back offside or for a foul, Vinny Jr. involved in the racist chants. I mean, it was just ugly match overall. And I think the player was Gianluca Mancini, but taking my guesses there. I want to talk to you about something that I was curious about, looking at the FA Cup, and even when we talked about this in our Carabao Cup coverage. In the world of VAR that we live in, referees are getting used to trial by fire, working with VAR week in and week out. But now in the FA Cup, we don't see VAR used up until the 5th round. So what's going through the minds of these referees? What's that transition like, reffing a match with VAR versus now no VAR? You're back to the old days.
Ooh, good question, because we are referees are trained and taught to say always officiate as if VAR doesn't exist, right? Like, you should be officiating without the concept of VAR necessarily, which is half true and half not, right? Because from an assistant referee, your mechanics are different because of the system. So you do have to referee with it in your brain. But at the end of the day, when we're talking about the decisions that are being made on the field between the teams, it should be made in kind of that thing now. So that shouldn't be affecting their decisions on the field necessarily. However, I'm not going to lie, it does help to know that there's a technology and a system that if there is, a clear and obvious error made on the game, that you have that ability to no longer be on the front lines, because in the front covers of the page in the newspaper, especially in England, right, there's a lot more scrutiny on referees. Even if you don't watch football in England, if a referee's made a bad decision. So it shouldn't affect the way, but subconsciously there's like that security safety blanket underneath that always helps.
Well said, Christina. Thank you as always. Love the background, love the vibes.
Thanks, I appreciate it. It's first day back for the players, so I have to go skedaddle and watch them take a fitness test. I'm very glad I know.
The beep test. Let's go.
The beep test is live and well.
Yeah, like a boss. That's CBS Sports rules analyst Christina Unkel.